Welcome to Sex, Lies, and Blank Pages. Is it true or not?
I'm so excited for this episode. You have no idea.
A
Hi.
TV show that is it true or not? Or so it had something on that kind of premise, like believe it or not. That's what it
Yeah,
was,
believe
like,
it or
right?
not. Yes.
Yeah.
So, the idea for today's episode is taking lines, these inspirational lines, and or like people that claim facts, right? And things that can help you move forward with life and saying, like, is it true or not? And using our experiences to back it up. I'm very excited. Colleen has a list. I know that I've scanned it a little bit, but I forget it because it was like months ago. So, Stacey, are you ready? I'm gonna say you
Are
go
we
first.
ready?
I don't even know what the question is, but I'm saying
I know, I'm like, sure, ready, ready.
Okay, first one. Never meet your heroes.
Oh, I'm glad I swallowed so I didn't choke.
Okay, but also don't say that. I'm glad I swallowed first. Sorry, already thrown off. The romance brain there. Um,
So have you
you
ever, we're keeping this to the industry. Have you ever met heroes in real life, I guess, or in some capacity online that you loved? I'm guessing it's loving their book, right? Loving their book, and then you meet them in person, or you meet them as a person.
Yeah, because people forget just because we're authors doesn't mean we don't fangirl too, that we don't have those authors that were like, oh my God, that got us into writing or inspired us or something along the way. I know you two definitely have the story. I have yet
Yeah.
to be, maybe because of my acting background, I don't have like that, like I would just meet, I've never met somebody that I felt disappointed in because I never really,
Really? Oh my
yeah.
God.
You're
I mean, there's
lucky.
people I've been disappointed in, but they weren't my heroes.
So for you, it's
Acting
not
wise,
true.
what?
For you, that's not true. Never meet your
That
heroes
well,
is a
because
bad.
I've never held anybody up to that they
Uh,
were a hero,
mm,
and the people I met, good or bad, I've never, like, they were peers. I just always considered us all peers.
yeah.
But that was, maybe because I lived in LA for so long, I right away when I came into this industry, I'm like, no one's being held up to a standard because I was disappointed often in LA. So yeah. So you
Uh,
guys tell your story.
For me, I immediately think of four authors, too good, too bad. So it's almost like it depends. I was at like, okay, so I guess I'll tell both. I'll say the names of the good. I'm not saying the names of the bad. And early on in my career, it was one and one. I was at a low in my career. It was one of the times where I thought about quitting because a douchebag was mean to me and I felt like everybody was against me and I was crying and blah, 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 emotions, really a people pleaser who really cared about what people thought. In the long term, it literally was nobody. There is zero reason why I ever gave this person control over my emotion. And this was somebody I didn't know. And then an author who I read her series, loved her books. I had messaged her to ask her something. She had messaged back weeks before, and I'd messaged her back and everything. And as I'm in this low, she messages me, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" Blah, 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 like an update on whatever we were talking about. And I said, "I'm not doing really good." I told her what happened, and she said, "Who?" And I told her again, being like, okay, it's kind of weird that she doesn't know. Obviously, my bubble was different and much, much smaller.
Mhm.
And she said, and this is an author who absolutely loved her. And she said, do you want to go to the mall? I'd never seen her in person. She was like, do you just want to go walk around? You just want to go hang out? And it
Oh.
was M. Never who wrote the Owned
Oh.
trilogy. And I might have quit that week, or at least thought it,
Oh.
like I was thinking about quitting. And instead, an author hero of mine was like, hey, let's go. And she was like, you're doing great. That doesn't matter. It sounds like he's an asshole. Just let it go. Which a book rec right now, I'm going to say The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. I know it's freaking everywhere. I've been reading it. Amazing. And at that time, Marissa M. Never, she gave me that little bit of advice and it really did, like I needed it in the moment. And she came through and she didn't know me from anybody else, but she went out of her way to just be kind to somebody who was a new author. And it was really sweet. Very sweet. Another author I met who obviously 50 Shades of Grey was my first spicy romance. I think I've mentioned it before. It was a lot of people's. And E.L. James, absolute sweetheart, and has just been so kind. So meeting her was excellent. On the opposite side of the spectrum, um, two authors. one in particular was recent, so it feels the worst, and absolutely loved her book. I promoted it before. Will never again, because she just decided to harass me on social media about things that weren't even true. But like she has absolutely no context whatsoever. And I think she was just in a bad mood and was like, I'm going to go after this person. I'm entitled to because whatever reason, and just decides to spew hate based off of things that are not real. It literally, and it's just like, I think she just wanted a reaction to me. She just wanted to fight with somebody. And at first I was like, I kind of recognize this name, but I don't know. I blocked, and then I sent it to Sophie, and she said, oh yeah, that's blah, 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 blah. She wrote blank, and my heart just sank. It was like, how could somebody who wrote that be so cruel and dumb? Like confidently an asshole. And that sucked. And I'm getting emotional all over again, just feeling it. And I know that like she has her issues. And this is where I go like in my therapy mindset, right? Where I'm like, she's obviously going through things, and I'm just an object of a punching bag where she decided that this must be true and therefore she's entitled, and F her for this and F her for that. While in the actual real life, none of it is true. She has no idea what's going on. She also is in a position where she could have asked.
Yeah.
And instead of asking anything, she just decided to be cruel. And knowing that, that sucks, especially because this is such a small, in reality, this is a very small industry. So, and the other person just turned out to be a dick. Like,
Yeah.
I
Long
like,
story short.
long story short, just, yeah. So it's like 50-50 for me. Some heroes are amazing. Some heroes turn out to not be great people. At the same
Yeah.
time, I had real life moments with the two who turned out to be heroes. And perhaps had I had a real life moment with this other person and she wasn't in the state that she was in, even though at the same time, like she might just be a dick. Like, I don't know. I don't know her. I don't wish anybody harm, but I do think it's like 50-50, whether or not when you meet your heroes, it ends up being a negative experience or a positive experience. That's just my take. How about you, Colleen?
Both of mine, well, I have one negative and one positive. I'll start with my
Again, that's
negative
50.
and end on my positive. So
Okay.
I'll do the opposite. Both of mine were from when I was just starting in the indie world. So like 12, 13 years ago. And I was just, little baby blogger, just starting in PR.
Mhm.
And both of these people, I loved their writing, absolutely loved. The one person had just come onto the scene that I had the negative with. And she maybe had 3-4 books out when this happened. And I was working at an event, and a handicapped person approached her table, and I was standing right there. And the person was like, "Can I please get a picture with you?" And she said, "Oh, well, it seems to be that you're out of luck because I will not get out of this chair for you."
That's so mean, like unnecessarily
Yeah.
so.
Right. That's
And
What
the
the
girl's
hell?
face just fell. I mean, she was in a wheelchair,
God.
and the girl's
God.
face just
I
fell.
can't even imagine that.
Oh,
And
it's
she
so
was like,
angry.
"Well, can you lean over the table so we can get a picture together?" She said, "No, I'm not moving." She said,
Why?
"You have to
Does
figure
this
out a way
person
if you
exist?
want to
Hold
get a
on. Hold
picture."
on. Okay, now we need a series of questions so I can decipher who's. Does this person still exist in the book world, or have they
She
vanished?
is not a nice person. She's known for not being a nice person. She's pretty much blacklisted.
Okay, I think I know who it is, but I like there's only so many people who are in like literally there's only so many people who have been around that long who still exist and are blacklisted. I'm gonna ask you after. I'm asking you
Yeah.
after. I'm pretty sure I
She's
know.
known for not being very nice.
Ah,
I want to like hold
that
on, wait.
kind
I
of
want
injustice, again, that cruelty, I would get just so livid, especially for somebody that came out of their way to
Yeah.
see you,
yeah,
The girl left
buys
the
your
event.
books, and you treat them like that. I just,
Yeah.
literally. So
The
okay,
girl left the event in tears after that. She didn't even stay to
that
finish.
makes
And
me
it was
so
a
sad.
small event. There was only about 13, 14 authors at the event. It was an exclusive event. And she just left.
I can't imagine having an experience like that as a reader. Like, I would be so upset. Is there, okay, we can censor out these initials.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Oh yeah, we all know this one. Okay.
Yes,
That
because
one wasn't,
usually
that wasn't hard.
it wasn't. Usually the a-holes don't make it very long, and it's very rare that, I mean, when you look to your left, look to your right, they're not going to be here in a year, right? Not even assholes, just anybody in the community. It's very hard to make this a career and to stay.
Yeah.
So 12, 13 years ago, there's only so many people.
I went home that day.
I see. I
donated
disagree.
her
I think
books. I was like, I don't want them in
she's
my
still
house.
around.
I don't want
Oh, no,
anything to do with her.
Yeah, she is still around. That's what I'm saying. Is most of the cohort, though, right? There's these cohorts who are really successful every year, right? And each year there's a new cohort. The 12, 13 years ago cohorts who were forces, there are very few who are still around, and very few are assholes. Assholes don't make it in this industry. So very few anyway. Every cohort has one or two, but yeah. Okay. Well, that was a good question. That was a good one because I got excited because it was like trivia moment.
The other one, I can say her name. She was, I went to the very first, it was, I think the very first big book event around the same time. Well, I guess it was like 13 years ago now. It was Book Bash in Orlando, Florida.
I never got to go to a book bash, and I hear so much about it.
It was so fun.
For those old school.
Yeah, it was real. That's old school. And my first person I really remember, besides like the real old school people that you read, like Nora Roberts and stuff, was Sylvia Day. And I always loved her books, and I could not get near her table.
Crossfire series.
And I loved that series. And I was like so sad that I couldn't meet her. And we went to this after party, and I saw this woman standing by the bar completely alone, no one standing near her. And I said to my friend, that looks like Sylvia Day. And she was like, Colleen, that is her. And I was like, there's no one around her. And she was like, go and talk to her. So I went over to her and I was like, I'm really sorry. I was like, to bother you. And she was like, I've been waiting for somebody to come and talk to me.
I know.
Was so wonderful. She hugged me. She just like talked to me for like 25 minutes. She signed my friend ran up to the room, got my book. She signed it for me. And I was like, you signed all day. I don't want you to sign my book. She was like, no, go get it. I want to sign it for you. She was the most lovely person. I think one of the most lovely people I have ever met in my life.
She's one of the Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You were going to go on for her.
She's one of the people who I assume, and I believe, and all of my being got her back. You know how there were some authors where they're at like the prime, and you're like, like literally, you are so sweet. You have this success. I hope that your pillow is always cold. Your coffee is always hot or cold if you like it cold. Yeah. Like, I just want like the best for you because you hit that prime. And you're just a good person. Like she is one of those people. And I believe she got her bag.
Yeah.
But I believe she might have got multiple bags.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure she has. She's still carrying a lot of bags. Yeah. And that was how Amy Bartle and I became friends because she was in her heyday at that time. And she won all these awards and stuff like that. And we were standing there and she was standing by herself. And I just walked up and was like, hey, girl, let's get a margarita, because everybody kind of treated her as more of like, oh, my God, that's Amy, like gushing around her and not treating her like, and I was just like, girl, let's go get drunk. And she's like, thank you. Yeah. So we became friends after that because it was just like, let's just, they're just real people. A lot of times when you do put them on a pedestal, they're the ones standing by themselves going, I feel so weird right now. Nobody's talking to me. Everybody's staring. Yeah.
Literally.
And I feel sad, like I don't have those moments anymore where I'm like, oh my gosh, because I'm kind of desensitized now. But at the same time, it's kind of fun just to have the other moments that I have now where it's like, you're a normal person. Let's have a conversation and have a drink and chat like you did with Amy Bartle.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I miss those moments.
Yeah.
I
think I already came in desensitized, like I already was there. So I mean, I've been disappointed by authors, definitely that I've met people that I was like, ooh, okay, they're not, there's a lot out there that have a personality online
There's somebody that you have a story of somebody you met.
Oh, I mean, many stories. I'm not, they're just, were never my hero though. Like,
Yeah,
I can't say they were crash and race. I just was saying that,
true.
like, who I thought they were online, you know, because they had this very friendly or, you know, personality online. And then when I met them in person, it was just like so completely different than that. It was just like, youch, okay.
I
Getting
feel
a
like
word out of them was like, you're like, okay, I'm gonna go. This is really awkward.
I think that people never make it. Like if you like, it's so difficult to try to keep a persona. I get
oh
two
no, she's
comments.
doing just fine.
Oh, yeah, particular person.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I can't say that they're it's just their personality was very different. I can't say that they were mean or anything like that. It's just they're not, you know, it was just
kind of
it was
a
very
wet fish
awkward.
personality. Let's just say.
So, all right, what's our next one? Can we got to probably move on from this one? Our next, or is it true or not?
It takes years to become an overnight success.
True.
Not anymore.
No, I think it's true. I guess it depends on how you define success. Okay, you go first. You go first.
We have good friends that basically their first book out is already like USA, you know, they're already top where, you know,
is it their definition of success though? Because we've had people on the podcast.
Success for anybody's terms.
Well, we've had people on the podcast whose debut turned into a movie, but it wasn't what they thought it was. It wasn't the success that they thought it was. It wasn't the money that you would think it was, where it appears to be something, but it's not necessarily.
Well, I mean, this person that we know, yes, I think that's success, you know, and the group around him seems, I don't think that with the change of TikTok, with the change of, before I do believe that there was like, you know, you had to kind of work for this industry, you know, you had to write, you know, and build that platform, which I think TikTok wiped that out.
Even
I don't believe it.
Yeah. Do you think
TikTok
I think today offers who got the success back with TikTok that today, if you ask them if they were successful, that they would say yes?
You mean, yeah, like I mean, there's 3 people I know that they got an agent before they even wrote a book because of the persona they put out there. And have #1 books. Different.
Because I think that having an agent or having a #1 bestseller doesn't mean success, because having an agent doesn't mean that you're even going to make money. And having a #1 book means you might have been spending a lot of money. I think my version of success is holding on to readers and having longevity. And maybe that's why I think that takes years, because you might have a moment. A lot of people have a moment, and in 5 years, they have a job outside of this career because it's not giving them money.
Yeah. But I mean, success can wave and flow. And again, this was like in LA too. And I don't think it exists in LA anymore either. That anybody that you would think was, oh my God, they came out of nowhere, there's an overnight success. We're granted working 10 years, you know, as a waitress, you know, auditioning, working in LA as an extra, probably on, you know, SUV, you know, SVU, as everybody did.
Wasn't it Wheel of Fortune? Or not Wheel of Fortune. Who was it? The model who did, she wasn't a model. She had big boobs and she was on some game show, and then she became the host of the Wheel of Fortune where she flipped the letters. What's her name?
Vanna White.
Vanna White. She was on where's the one where you guess the money amount or whatever? It was a game show where they picked somebody from the audience to come up, and her, like in the thing, her boobs are just a sweat. Like she had some nice ones. And then they asked her if she wanted to be on Wheel of Fortune. And she had Vanna White. So that wasn't that was a true overnight success, I think. Yeah. Or it might not have been. She might have gone to a million things before it happened.
Is it majority of people probably have to work? Yes. But nowadays I do feel that no longer is, you know, just you have to be, you know, work in this industry. I think by anybody's success, some of these people that are, because of any time we could work 10 years, get one moment and drop out. I mean, not, you know, become, so them getting it right out of the gate, you know, that doesn't mean it's not success. And like,
I know people who got it out of the gate on TikTok who are currently suffering and regretting quitting their jobs. So they might have looked like an overnight success, a true overnight success then, but fast forward 4 years and that success isn't holding them up.
Yeah.
So I guess it depends on your definition of success. And I do know there's some people who got that overnight success who are able to work for it, but I think that they're working for it for sure. Like they were holding on to it and
Yeah.
making sure that they could sustain it. And there are a few people actually, now that I say that, who they have multiple books coming, like they continued the work. So yeah, I guess maybe it's I would have initially said true, but okay, all right, I can say, yeah, like you can get that success, but then to hold on to it, you
Yeah. I'm saying it's a
bust your ass.
false now, that it doesn't have to be anymore. Cause I've been here 11 years and you think like, okay, it's my time, but that no longer is like, there's not some, okay, you taken a number, you worked hard, now you get this, that's, it's all out, like somebody, again, brand new, that's a good friend of mine, already, there, which I'm not, so I don't believe that it's working 10 years anymore. I think I think it has a lot to do with, not that it's not talent. Let me first say this, but I think a lot of luck and a lot of, TikTok, charisma, like a lot of that helps, push that person on.
Right time, right place.
Yeah, yeah. And I there was another big author, I won't say name, but they said, and their success is enormous right now. And when I had one of those panels with them, she said, like, not, like 70% of this is work, the rest, or like 60% or something is work, the rest is just luck of why I'm here. And I'm like, it was refreshing to hear somebody that big going, guys, half of this, like, I can't tell you, you can do this and this, and you're going to get this, that half of it is just luck. It's timing, so I think that's a falsity, but you guys can have your own, what you think.
What I think that it's a nuanced answer. I think we dove into that one pretty okay. Good, and it probably is dependent. I have a lot of opinions on the luck part, because I think in a lot of instances we make our own luck and we pay attention to things and we capitalize and then we call it luck, when in reality we acted on something that we felt or saw. So I don't know. I have all sorts of mixed opinions, and it's dependent on the person, the place, the time, and whether or not they hold on to it. I know a lot of people get success and then they don't hold on to it, or they think they have success and then they do their taxes and they realize the money that they thought they made, they didn't actually make, and it wasn't the success that they thought it was. So yeah, so mixed nuance here, lots of gray.
I think this is a good segue into this one.
Oh.
Don't work harder, work smarter.
I do agree with that. The less that I work, the more money I make. That's because of deliberate delegation. But I also have, like, I've been in the industry for, this will be 9 years. Will be 9 or 10. What year is it?
I think you're going into 9.
Yeah, so 9. So not 9 years, 12 employees. And the first year, 1 employee, the second year, 1 employee, and my husband as a co-CEO, 50-50, and literally just adding people and adding people and adding people. And it is an avalanche of, how much money we put out versus how much money we make, but it's smarter. I'm definitely working smarter rather than harder. And I am at a place in my career where I'm working the least that I have ever worked. I consider myself, we've talked about it on the podcast, I consider myself somewhat retired in a way, because I'm not working 24/7. I know, yeah, it is laughable. I literally came from 3 different meetings back to back to back before this podcast, but I love it. And I would do it as like an 80-year-old retired person. I would 100% hop on these calls. But yeah. So
I'm literally working while we're recording. I don't know if you can see me, but I'm answering questions.
We're all lying our ass off here. We're like, work smarter. We're all still like on half, like, wait, hold on, I'm gonna answer some email, guys.
Yeah, it's smarter.
I'm working for both of them while we're recording.
I do agree. Again, the harder could be smarter, but it's just, I think you could throw your hat in a lot of different areas, because you're just, and it's useless. You waste money, you waste your time. I think when, there's so many platforms, they tell you just pick a few, there's so many there's a lot of avenues in this. And I think sometimes just kind of relaxing, going down to the ones you're good at, and finding different things from there is probably smarter than trying to spread yourself everywhere and nobody really knows what you're, but like it's,
Yeah.
you're kind of everywhere but you're really nowhere because you're not taking a real huge stance. Like, okay, I picked Instagram. I've kind of left Facebook unless it's my book, my group.
Facebook is my number one converter on my shop by a lot, consistently.
Yeah.
It's
I
true.
just don't find the feedback as much there.
No, I'm just going to throw that one out there in terms of income, not necessarily reach or virality, but in terms of income, the conversion for me is the strongest on Facebook.
Is it your ads?
No, I only started doing ads a couple months ago for the mystery book boxes. No, it's not ads. It's just, I think that there's a group of people there so if we're talking about the history of romance, which I think we should do, guys, comment below, let us know if you want to know the history and the changes and pivoting that the indie author, specifically the romance community, has made over the years. I would love to do an episode on that. It might be boring though, so let me know if you give a shit.
I would like it.
But what we should do it is, like how they do that show, Drunk History.
Oh,
we should.
That would be. I can be the drunk person. Can I?
I'll do it. Yeah, girl, that would be funny.
Oh, on the show, they are all drunk, aren't they?
All drunk.
Yes, yeah. That was a good show. Why was that canceled? Because that was fantastic. I'm gonna actually ask Sean if we can toss that on just for a little throwback. That was fabulous.
Yeah, you learned a lot and it was funny.
Exactly.
I, of course, watched the Jason Momoa one, so
I know. Fantastic. But back in the day, Facebook, you could just post on Facebook organically and be in the top 100. You didn't have to run ads. You didn't have to do anything. Facebook groups were phenomenal. There were Facebook bloggers, all that stuff. And I believe that community is honestly still active, even though it doesn't appear that it is. They're still there. They're still on Facebook. They still think Instagram is for food pictures and that TikTok is for girls dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And they just want to be on Facebook and they're still looking for books. And even though it's ad, then they see their authors and there is conversion there. And they're willing to support authors who they know in whatever capacity it is. And because I am so direct sale oriented, but my name is recognizable from back in that day, the conversion is really good. I still love Facebook. I really do. I'm active in both the group and on my page, not as much in my profile as should be. It's a lot to juggle, as we know. And my profile is something that I don't delegate because it's me, obviously. Which makes it more difficult because it means that I have to fucking do it. So on top of
I'm still on Facebook, but I'm more on my group. Like if I'm gonna post stuff, I probably post it more to my group because they just drowned your stuff over on the regular page. They so I do like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok are my main ones. Like I know people are on Threads and all this other place, and I was like, you know what? No, I can't add another
Threads for the gossip.
This is for anybody listening who has a business. You can use Repurpose.io, and that will automatically post whatever you post onto Instagram onto Threads. It will automatically post whatever you post on TikTok onto like all of the platforms. It'll automatically post it for you, and that way you don't have to do the work. And you can just be on the platform that you're comfortable on. But the readers who are comfortable on other platforms or consumers, whatever your business is, they will still have access to you. And it's as if you're actually posting for them, even though you're like, I fucking hate whatever the platform is. It doesn't matter. You're still there. And I think being there for your following in whatever capacity it is amazing. How did we get on this topic what was even
harder? Don't work harder, work smarter.
Oh, well, repurpose.io, that's fantastic. Isn't that like, that is, there you go. Work smarter, not harder. Don't post on all platforms. Post to one and have, which I think it might be free. It might not be free.
It is. Well, they have a free tier, I think.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, work smarter, not harder.
Okay. So what's our next one? Do we have another one?
Yeah. No, we gave a shout out. We should email them. We should be like, can you sponsor us? And do you have connections with some alcohol also? It can't hurt to ask.
That makes sense.
Say we're going to reinvent the drunk history TV show. So sponsor.
I think we should do that. We have to put on little hats though. And be costumed and
Oh
drunk.
my God. That
We
would
can
be
do it.
fantastic. That would be literally,
Are we all going to be together in Vancouver? Like
we
we
should
could
do it
do
then.
How we are in
together.
August? We could do
And
August.
we can pretend we are from each year when we started. And we'd be like, I just posted my book. I posted it into my Facebook book or my Facebook group. I'm in the top 10.
We'll have to go back to our 2000 hairstyles
I
back
know,
then.
right?
I just posted brand new Facebook. My hair's like, is it bangs back then?
That would be fantastic. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. Opportunities don't happen, you create them.
Ooh. I'm going to disagree. I'm going to agree, but disagree. What about you? Do you want to go first? Do you want to go second?
I agree mostly with that because I feel like I'm finding like, ooh, that would be interesting. And I find an opportunity through that. Like I'll go to my agent and be like, hey, I want, can we ask them about this or that? So I feel like I'm mostly trying to create the opportunities. I can't say, there's been times things been come to me, but most of the time I feel they came to me is because I was already out there
looking,
getting the opportunity somehow in another way. So
yeah, I think I see a lot of opportunity, and I'm a futuristic on, one of my top three is futuristic on what is the test? What is it? It's not, all I can think is Enigma. It is not, that is not, I don't even think that's a word. On the task, the scale where they have all the different things, features, either way, I think about the future all the time and what something could possibly be. So when I had my boxes and my subscription boxes, and I told authors, I was like, hey, I see that this is a thing. A couple authors are doing it. I'm going to do it. It's going to be great. And they're like, no. And I'm like, that opportunity came to me. I didn't create it. I saw somebody else doing it, and therefore I made it. And then it happened. TikTok, I saw it and I was like, hey, there's this opportunity. And there was so much like, that's a waste of time back when I first got on it. And I mean, I guess in some ways you could say like I made that opportunity or whatever, but really I think there are so many opportunities around us, and it's so easy to just say no and just be like, well, that's not real. Like, that's not true. Like when Instagram came around, it's just, people taking pictures of food, right? And nobody wanted to be on Instagram until it was a thing. Same thing with TikTok. Nobody wanted to be on there until it was a thing, but the opportunity was there. It's just people didn't take it. It was so easy to just say no because it's one less thing on your plate. So I don't know. I'm back and forth on that one. And do you create it, or does it there? Maybe it's 50-50. I think
it's almost like that cycle, like, the chicken and the egg thing.
I think it's a little of both.
Yeah, I agree. It's a little bit of both. And I love every opportunity, especially the ones with 6 and 7 figure deals. If they could come to me, that'd be great. I am in receiving mode. It is.
Yeah, I know. We're all like, I'm willing to have that opportunity fall in my lap.
Literally right now.
My lap is open. My lap is free.
Yeah. Maybe who was it who did Drunk History? Maybe he listens to our podcast. Who knows? Maybe his wife reads romance books.
Let's find his name and I can tag him.
Okay. We're gonna have to get like a script and like
right. I know, right?
But I'm ready for the drunk part. I'm like, and then it's so funny. Like the longer they go, and they're like, the slurring. We'd
be really good at that.
Fantastic. We can do that. I have faith. I believe in us.
I have faith. Okay, last one.
Okay.
I lost it. Hold on. Your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning.
I do think that is true in some capacity, and in others, I think that it's a good reason to go to therapy and to understand that people are going through their own things and that some things aren't for you. So I'm going to go 50-50 on this one too. Wow. Are these like I feel like almost on every question we're like, they could not be.
Life isn't black and white. There's very little things in life that are like a definite this, there's so many, things that
I will say my discreet series came from unhappy customers. And I don't even know if they were customers, unhappy readers. They wanted discreet covers. And so many authors would just reply like, oh, I don't, I'm sorry, or whatever. And again, that could be a thing of, did I create that opportunity or did that opportunity come to me? because I saw them enough to where I was like, I could do that. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal for me. I could go ahead and make that and see what happens. And then it turned into a disruptor, into a huge thing. And that happened because people saw what I was offering and said, I really wish that you would do this. I don't like these covers, which some authors are like, what in it? Like they would not respond positively to somebody being like, your covers suck. But for me, I was like, well, they're not for everybody, but I could make one for you. If that's the threshold for you reading the story, I could change that. That's easy. It's easy enough to cover.
Anytime constructive criticism is valuable.
Sometimes it's not constructive. Sometimes it's somebody being like, I really hate these.
Yeah. And I do feel lately it's less constructive and just criticism lately. And back when you first started, especially when you first started writing, like when you get the first couple reviews, and I always looked at the 3 stars, not the 2 stars, not the 1 stars, and not the 5 stars. Like I found the 3 stars the best. Like there's constructive criticism,
I apparently hate myself, so I would go to the 1 star. I would go all the way past 5 stars, don't care. 3 stars, okay. 1 star, here it is. Tell me about myself.
But most of the time they're not constructive. Most of the time they're just like attacking, and they want you to feel their pain and that. But so I feel like at one time there was more constructive. I think now I've taken myself out because I don't feel there's much constructive anymore. It's just now, if you don't agree, like my view is everybody should have my view.
I don't read reviews at all anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's definitely
a lot of people don't know how to write reviews anymore either. So constructive ones anyway.
Yeah.
So
some people use reviews as their therapy, and that's not for me. That's
I think that I think most authors at the beginning of their career, it's exciting. It's kind of fun to get that, like, you kind of want to keep up on it. And then I don't know when the switchover happens. I think by the 2nd or 3rd book, you're like, no, I got to save my.
It was probably like my 20th book, but my switchover was I kept wanting to be better, wanting to be better, wanting to be better. And I was like, this isn't going to make me better. This is somebody's opinion. Not every book is for every person. I love this book, and the things that they're criticizing aren't things that are going to improve my writing. It's just that this book just wasn't for them. And at that point I was like, okay, I can tap out of reviews and just move on with my life and continue writing and look towards editors and betas and alphas and my own opinion. So
all right. So
we have more?
Was it true or not? We still don't know.
50-50.
I don't think it could be.
Maybe not.
If you have any questions, comments, criticisms, and all that good stuff, leave them in the comments. Whether or not we read them, I guess just depends. Just like our
50-50.
Like, follow, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And we will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.